Hey everybody, it's Rhiannon. It's Tuesday. This video is really late, but this is the only time I've actually had by myself to actually do a video. So this week's topic is magical creatures. I was kind of wondering how I wanted to do this because other than fairies, I really don't work with magical creatures. I don't know a lot because I don't work with. I mean, growing up, we had the troll dolls, and I've always had a thing for the troll dolls. And I do keep trolls around, but I mean, they're mischievous creatures, so I try not to keep and work with them very much, because I feel like trolls have the reputation of being more mischievous than fairies. I do work with fairies a lot, like I said, because, one, I've always been drawn to fairies. Anything fairy, paintings, fairy, pictures, fairy, anything that has to do with fairies. My goddess is Rhiannon, and Rhiannon is said to be queen of the fairies. So I do have an altar set up. Let me see if I can show you really quick. Okay, so up here is my altar for Rhiannon, and then down below her I have a fairy altar. So So I do work with fairies a lot. In the springtime, I tend to work with them more. I will build a little fairy garden for them. I tend to do, let me grab this really quick. In the springtime, I tend to use this oracle deck, which is the Fairy Oracle by Brian Froud. A little bit of a tidbit. Brian Froud is the person who did the puppets for Labyrinth. The artwork for the Fairy Oracle, and I believe I think it's Heart of the Fairy. That is also done by Brian Froud, and you can definitely tell that he is the person who did the artwork for Labyrinth. Anyway, I will use those for divination, especially on Beltane. And work with them that way, leave offerings for the fairies, because they are mischievous creatures, and I kind of feel like if you leave offerings for them, then they're a little less mischievous. I mean, I will have keys disappear that I know damn well I put on my purse or in my purse, and they're not there, and then I look and they're on the counter, and I know I didn't put them on the counter because I never do. So small things like that. So I feel like if I give offerings and I place little shiny things in my garden that I make, that the havoc is a little bit less. They are a really nice energy to work with. They're childlike, and if you need to kind of embrace your inner child, it's really a good thing to work with the fairies. It's really easy to pull some of that childlike energy from the fairies. Like I said, I tend to work with them more. I know a lot of people work with dragons, or the energy of a dragon, the fire, the passion. Some people do work with trolls and things like that. Water nymphs, the energy that those creatures tend to possess. Some people don't work with them at all. Some people don't believe in them. Unicorns, any of that. I do tend to surround myself with the fairies. Unicorns, if I'm going to do anything second. I do have a troll sitting on my desk at work. I kind of sit him there because it's very strange. It's like I feel like if I'm in my office where he is, the chaos is a little bit less. If I'm not with him, so to speak, the chaos is a little bit more. Almost kind of like that troll doll kind of wards off. He's enough. He's enough chaos for the room, if that makes any sense. So it doesn't create any more. My office is very peaceful at work. And I think that attributes to the fact that I do have stones and crystals and fairies and trolls and things like that. And I do have that energy constantly working in my office. But when it comes to working with these energies, that's really all it is. I work with the fairies more than anything. I honor the fairies, leave offerings for the fairies. I will do the fairy garden, and things of that type. But when it comes to actually working with the energies of some of the other creatures that you would hear about, I don't really. So I know this probably isn't very helpful, but I did want to kind of tell you a little bit about what I do with some of these magical creatures. So I hope that gave a little bit of insight. I'm sorry this one's so short, and I'm sorry that I wasn't here last week. I was horribly ill. I felt awful. I don't know if it was the flu. I don't know what it was, but I lost my voice on about Tuesday. Still had a fever, and I just couldn't do it last week. So I will see you guys next week. If you do work with creatures, magical creatures, if you do work with those energies, I'd love to know how you work with those creatures. So please put that below for us so we can see it, because that's how this keeps going. So I will see you guys next week. Blessed be.